Hi, everybody. It's Joanna. Yeah, with my still splinted hand. Hey, it's Joanna. What's going on? I'm hanging out here by the garden because today I want to talk about. Sorry, I had to move my chair closer. I want to talk about the current canning jar and lid shortage that's going on. So, like everybody knows, I'm gonna put my sunglasses on. The sun finally came back out. Like everybody knows, my husband and I grow a garden. We grow a garden every year, and we have an apple tree, and this was supposed to be the on year for the apple tree, but the apple got zapped or froze or something. I was trying to turn my camera so you could see my apple tree, but I don't think it's turning. Oh, it's the one. It's the wrong. It's this. Okay, never mind. It didn't connect to my good webcam. It connected to the one on my laptop. But hey, it says one person's watching, so thanks for watching, and please drop us a thumbs up. And since I'm live real quick, I'm going to share my video to my friends on Facebook, so maybe some more people will come in and watch with us. Friends on Facebook, so maybe. Sorry, I had to mute had to mute. So like I said, we're going to talk about canning. So this year, because of the coronavirus pandemic, obviously everybody went out at the beginning, I don't know, early March, and started what they call panic buying, and bought beans and rice and flour and peanut butter and all this stuff, which you need to have in your long-term food storage if you don't already have it. But if you're a prepper, like the rest of us, you already had some of that stuff. So like we already had beans and rice in our long-term food storage, and I was standing there like in the supermarket one day, like looking around and watching everybody else just like freaking out, just grabbing things. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you didn't have anything at home already? Okay, so we already had, like I said, my apple tree got frosted this year really late after it bloomed. So it just completely kaput and decided it's not going to blossom. It's not going to leaf out or do anything. If you can, I think my camera's pointed at it. You can see it's just all sticks, just the branches. No leaves, no apples, no nothing. Adjust my camera a little better there. So because of the pandemic, right, everybody went out panic buying, and then farmers were told that restaurants were going to be closed, so they should throw away a lot of food when they should have been donating them to food banks or selling them at farmers markets, something. So because of that, a lot of people said, you know what, my parents used to grow a garden, or my grandma used to grow a garden and can, and I haven't done that in a long time. So when the garden centers and stuff were finally allowed to open, because I know here in Illinois they were closed until the end of March, at least. I think it was April 1 they were allowed to open. And I went to a local greenhouse April 1st to buy a lot of our tomato plants and green pepper plants and stuff. You can see my tomato plants behind me. I mean, if I stood up next to them, they're as tall as I am, like to here. So since a lot of people went out and decided, I'm going to grow a garden this year, I'm sure a lot of people thought, well, I'm going to try water bath canning. So now there's a jar and lid shortage. At first it was just the lids. Okay, so let's talk about our canning supply, our parts here. Uh-oh. That lid was pretty tight. Okay, so you have the jar first. This just happens to be a golden mason jar. Oops. Golden mason jar that I had sitting on the counter, so I just picked it up for this demonstration. These jars comes in a box with 12 jars in them. And when they're brand new, ooh, that's, yes. Maybe it had moonshine in it. Oops. Anyway, the boxes come with a box of 12 jars, and you get a brand new lid with the seal. See, it's got the seal there for canning. And then you get a ring on each jar. So most experienced canners already have the jars, right? Because the jars, unless you break one, the jars you wash and use over and over and over and over and over because they're glass, made in the USA, BPA free, all that crazy stuff. I don't even know what it means, but it's glass, so it's safe. And a lot of experienced canners were like, well, I'm going to plant even more. So like this year, those are 4 big tomato plants behind me. 1, 2, 3, 4 up that line. And then there's a small one that we didn't plant it the same way Ryan did those ones. So it's small. It's over in this corner, and my cucumber plant has actually taken it over and grown up the tomato cage, which is cool because then my cucumbers just hang down and I just pick them. So because a lot of experienced canners already had the jars, oops, sorry, can't figure out where the camera is, already had the jars, they just needed a new lid because you're supposed to buy new lids and use a new lid every time you press your can or water bath can. And of course, you can keep the ring and reuse the ring. As long as it's not rusty, you can reuse the ring because all you do is screw it on like that. Okay. Sorry with my bunk can. I'm trying to do it good here. Okay. But because of this jar shortage, well, I mean, I didn't know a jar shortage was coming, but because I like to recycle and use what I have, I've started the last year and a half, 2 years, I've started keeping all my store-bought jars. So you may say, what do you mean by store-bought jars, Joanna? I mean jars like this. Okay. This is a ragu spaghetti sauce jar, as you can read on the outside. But there's not spaghetti sauce in there. There's pickles in there. Okay? Because I make refrigerator dill pickles. And I don't have to can them. So the lids don't have to seal and pop. And I can just go like this. Fresh. Fresh as the day I put them in there. Oh my goodness. This wasn't supposed to turn into a mukbang video, but couldn't resist. So, if you buy a lot of this ragu or Prego spaghetti sauce, or just dill pickles, you buy a lot of Vlasic pickles, keep those jars. Because you can use them for things like this. You can can, I say can, but it's really not canning. I make refrigerator style pickles, and when my cucumbers come on, I make as many sphere dill pickles as I can because I love them, and my husband loves them, and everybody else loves them. And then if somebody comes to my place and wants to take a jar home, I give them a jar like this. I go, here you go. And tell them, oh, you don't really have to worry about bringing the jar back to me. I mean, you can. I'd take it back. But if you don't, it's no big deal. So that's another solution that you could use to deal with this jar shortage if you're kind of on the rear end of it. Now, I think I'm pretty close to the rear end of it because we live in the Midwest in Illinois. And I saw a couple of videos come out about this a month ago, and I wasn't quite sure, like, what is going on? I think Homestead Tess is a channel, and she's from out east, and she said that they couldn't get the lids first, so then they couldn't get the boxes of jars, and then the last of the boxes of jars that Walmart had, her local Walmart had, they were cutting the package open and selling them in each individual jar for like $4 a jar. How crazy is that? It's almost like defeats the purpose of canning. But the point is, if they scared us and told us there's a food shortage coming, and people who aren't normal preppers are freaking out, they're going and buying carts full of cases of jars and lids and stuff. And I hope they know what to do with them. I hope they figure it out. It's really not hard to water bath can. We've made, I think we've canned excuse me, I think we've canned 3 batches of canned tomatoes, which is I just take tomatoes, blanch them, peel them, quarter them, quarter them, put them in a big like chili pot and let the tomatoes boil down. So I think and then we water back in them. I think we've done 3 batches of that, of the tomatoes. So you just have raw canned tomatoes, not raw, fresh canned tomatoes, I guess is what I should say. And then we did a batch of pasta sauce. And of course, I've made 3 or 4 batches of refrigerator style pickles. So like the whole bottom shelf of my refrigerator is pickles. And we were running out of space. So I made cucumber relish. I don't know who that is calling me, and I'm not going to answer. So my husband just went and picked it out of the garden before I got my live stream started here. So I'm going to show you what he picked out of the garden today. Oh, well, I was going to try to. So he picked, again, because we love cucumbers and pickles. I think next I'm going to make bread and butter pickles. Some more bread and butter pickles, because those water back can really well. And then you just put them in your pantry, you know, or put them in the cold room. I have what I call a cold room because I don't have a root cellar. Believe me, I would love to build a root cellar, but my husband's like, we're in town. The neighbors are already freaking out about the bunny rabbit pen and the pool fence, and you know, that it looks run down or trashy or whatever. But he tells me I don't have the room to build a appropriate root cellar, because if I was going to do one, I'd want a big one. So in the meantime, I consider my basement my root cellar. And I have a separate room from, like, I didn't do this. It was already that way. It was like a concrete, it's probably supposed to be like a cold cellar, like a cellar, like I'm talking about, a root cellar. Or they considered it their tornado room, tornado shelter. But there's shelves up in there. So I take all my canned goods down, take all my canned goods and put them in their boxes that they came in, you know, to make the boxes full, and then carry the box down, put them up on the shelf in the cold pantry. And they'll last for a long, long time. I'm kind of disappointed, honestly, that the Department of Agriculture didn't come out way early on in November, like in December, when this first coronavirus outbreak occurred, and say, hey, Americans, FYI, you should have at least 2 months of food stored in your house ready to eat. It doesn't all have to be fresh. You know, you can have some in the fridge, some in the freezer, some home canned, dry goods, whatever. But that is actually what they recommend on their website in the food preserving section. When you get into the food preserving section, they recommend that you have at least 2 months of food stored. Now, as canners, as home canners, we have at least 18 months of food stored, or 2 years. I mean, I've still got tons of canned apple pie filling left. The seals are still good. They're still tight on the jars. If I pick them up, the lids will not pull off the jars. So my husband was talking in the background. So I'm going to say, as a prepper, as a home canner, try to put as much food away as you can while you can this spring. Look at all these cucumbers. 1, look how fat they are. I let them get really fat before I pick them. 2, 3, and we've got more tomatoes at my dad's house that are waiting, that are like ripening, because these are orange. They're not really red enough to can. That one, this is a nice kind of red one, but I'd let it sit another day to ripen even more, because then they're more fresh, and they peel and everything better. Look, here's some green peppers. Looks like Daddy picked a green tomato. I don't know, maybe he wants green tomatoes for dinner or something. Here's another cucumber. Here's a nice big fat tomato. Now, for some reason, our tomatoes have been really small. I mean, look. Like, look at Joseph, get off the trampoline. I'm using it as a desk right now. See, like, they're really small. And my dad told me I need to fertilize them, so maybe I need to do that. But I was just going to say, like, I was just trying to explain why the canning jar and lid shortage is happening. And, I mean, if they're predicting a current future food shortage this fall or something, can as much as you can. I'm just going to say it. Like, don't go out there and buy the whole shelf load. and then turn around and sell it on Amazon. My reseller friends, I do not appreciate that. Okay, I never gave away your bolos or shit to the canning community, and now us canning people are pissed that you could have, caused part of the problem too, because you're buying stuff and tripling your money, which I don't think's right. So yeah, I just say if you got to go get supplies, get enough for what you really need. Jars, lids, bands, pickling salt, citric acid, all that stuff. I mean, there's a shortage on all that stuff. All the seasoning packets, Mrs. Wage's pickle mix and stuff. There's a shortage on all that stuff because everybody's canning that hadn't canned before or hasn't canned in years. It's like, I can can. I want to try it. My best friend she actually got me into canning because she has kids way before I did. She had kids like, not trying to show anybody's age, 8 to 9 years, maybe 12 years before I did. 8 to 9 years before I did. So like Addie's 13 and yeah, this is 7. So let's say 8 years before I had any kids, she had kids and a family and found out that canning was real easy and saved you a lot of money. So she got me into it and she stopped canning. Well, this summer I went up and she wanted to grow a garden. So we helped her plant a garden. Me and Ryan and her husband, we all helped them plant the garden. And then I went up there several times and helped her, taught her how to make pickles and zucchini relish, and stuff like that she didn't know how to make. And we tried jellies, and the jelly was, again, a failure. I'm going to say, if you want to start canning, don't start with jelly. Jellies are a huge thumb down. I mean, they taste good, but they're hard as hell to do. Okay, then, so for example, she hadn't canned in 4 or 5 years. And now all of a sudden she's canning again, buying jars and stuff. When she's got jars in her garage, she needs to go find. Sarah, by the way, go search your garage for jars. But that's just an example of what happened. People who hadn't canned for a long, long time or maybe had never canned before and thought, I want to try that because if my freezer goes out, like the hurricane that hit Texas, knocked out all the electricity, your freezer goes out, all that food goes bad. If you can't eat it up or use it or give it to somebody who can use it or can it, again, you can take it out of the freezer and can it. Mrs. B has taught us that. But I just want to thank you for watching my video. Nobody came into the live chat today, but that's okay. I hope you guys have a good day and get what you need, but please leave enough for others. I just want to say that. So don't go crazy and hoard up all the jars or all the lids. There's no reason for that when other people need lids. I mean, we had to search for a week to be able to buy 10 packs of lids, and the lids are like 12 in a pack. And my dad was like, go buy 10 of them at the farm store. They just said they got a whole pallet in or something, like half a pallet or something. And we ran out there and bought 10 boxes so that we have enough to go the rest of the season. But I didn't go and buy everything buy every box on the shelf and go, oh, I'm gonna sell it on eBay, because I want my fellow canners to be able to get lids to can their food and not charge them an arm and a leg for lids. So that's all my point is. So I hope you guys have a good day and leave me a thumbs up on my video and subscribe to my channel because I talk about all kinds of different stuff. And of course, we talk about canning and do canning recipes and stuff. So please have a good day and go canning and leave me a thumbs up. Bye.